It went this way. I see you. Get away! All right, I'm spooked. I don't like this. Get my headlamp on, and we're getting out of here right now. They're just standing there. They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone!
The weirdness continues. What the? And there's a dead duck here.
Since 2017, a YouTuber known as Phil has been sharing videos on his channel Hickslam, where he takes viewers through his hiking adventures. He shows everything from how he prepares for a long hike, selects hiking gear, to what it's like to camp alone in remote areas.
Hi, Phil here from Hickslam. Today I'm gonna hike into the woods a little bit here in Virginia and do an overnight. It's the day before Thanksgiving. It's supposed to be cold tonight, but I'm looking forward to it. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
On the night before Thanksgiving 2021, Phil decided to go on an overnight hike along the Appalachian Trail near his home in Virginia. For the first 30 minutes of his hike, everything seemed normal. But soon after, Phil stumbled upon some strange trash.
The weirdness continues. What the? And there's a dead duck here.
What caught his attention was that some of the containers had writing on them. The writing appeared to be song lyrics, which left Phil puzzled. Why would anyone write out entire songs or poems on plastic containers only to throw them on the trail? As Phil ventured deeper into the wilderness, the situation grew even stranger. When he approached his campsite, he discovered more unsettling notes.
Hang out by the fire. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log where people write in their trail names and what's going on. They can write whatever they want in there. So it's kind of cool tradition here. So let's see what this one says. Little engine, back section. Hiking again finally. It's nice and little trail magic. Some comics and writing and stuff. Alright, let's see what's happened recently. Holy crap. Wait a second. Let me adjust the camera here. This writing looks almost exactly like the writing that was on that garbage a couple of miles from here.
The oddity continued. Some of the notes contained cryptic poems, others seemed to delve into conspiracy theories and the existence of undercover federal agents, and a few were biographical, revealing bits of someone's personal life. It was hard to determine whether the person who wrote the notes was also responsible for the duck's death, but it seemed too coincidental for the dead duck to be lying near the recently placed notes, which appear to be in good condition and not wet. After absorbing the eerie scene, Phil noticed a tarp and a fire near a campsite about 20 yards from the notes and the dead duck. He decided to stay far away from the campsite and continued on to a shelter. Although this next part wasn't captured on film, Phil later recounted that he had met two women coming down the trail with their dog. They asked if he had seen the person responsible for leaving the disturbing notes and dead animals. When Phil mentioned the nearby campsite and fire, the women grew anxious and asked him to walk back with them to their car. They thought it was a good idea to get as far away as possible from the campsite. Phil agreed and walked back with them, then continued hiking in the other direction to find a safer spot for the night. The remainder of his hike was uneventful, and when Phil reached the new shelter, he set up camp, lit a fire, and enjoyed his meal. Far from the unsettling notes he'd found earlier, once it got dark, Phil decided to check out the shelter's logbook to see the messages left behind by previous hikers. That's when things took another eerie turn. "I'm going to check out the shelter log here," Phil said while relaxing by the fire. Almost every shelter on the Appalachian Trail has a shelter log where hikers write their trail names and personal stories. It's a cool tradition. As Phil flipped through the logbook, he came across a disturbing entry that seemed all too familiar. "Wait a second, this writing looks almost exactly like the one on the garbage I found a couple of miles back." Despite being more than 2 miles away from the first campsite, the handwriting in the shelter log matched the one on the trash and notes Phil had seen earlier. This was unsettling, but things only got worse when Phil read the content. One entry read, "In 2018, while I was incarcerated at the Okaloosa County Jail in solitary confinement, I figured the following out, refer to Isaiah 28 verse 15 through 9. The writing seemed disconnected, jumping from topic to topic. This is the same ramblings from the guy on the other side of the river. That's kind of scary." Phil reflected on the encounter with the women earlier, who had mentioned calling the police on the person leaving the notes. In the log, there were more unsettling ramblings, referencing conspiracy theories and strange ideas about grave robbery and obscure topics. The log's entries were becoming more bizarre, indicating that whoever wrote them was likely not in a stable state of mind. This could spell danger, especially for Phil, since it was already dark and he had no means of protection. As Phil prepared for bed in the shelter, he discovered another disturbing note. A half-used Gatorade bottle hanging from a string on the ceiling, with a message in the same handwriting. "Watch out for Yeet Mouse. The dead do walk and talk." Alarmed by yet another strange note, Phil attempted to sleep, though he was clearly on edge. The last thing anyone would want while trying to sleep in the wilderness is to hear strange sounds outside the shelter. And that's exactly what happened to Phil. As he was drifting off, he heard something moving around outside. When he peeked out his tent, he saw a man wearing a headlamp walking around the shelter. Not wanting to confront the person who might be the same individual responsible for the notes and disturbing actions, Phil quietly made his way back to his truck in the dark, checking over his shoulder to ensure he wasn't being followed. Fortunately, he made it back safely. Since then, he hasn't uploaded any more videos about the strange happenings on the Appalachian Trail. While it's possible that other hikers came across the unsettling notes and the dead duck, we may never know who exactly wrote them or what they intended to do if they encountered an unsuspecting camper. Grizzly Gaz, a YouTube channel, features dozens of videos documenting Gaz's hiking and camping trips around the UK with his French bulldog, Fendi. Gaz often takes on extreme outdoor conditions, and his videos include footage of encounters with wild animals in the wilderness. In April 2023, Gaz uploaded a video documenting a camping trip in the UK. The first part of his trip was typical, with footage of Gaz setting up his tent and chopping wood for a fire while Fendi stayed by his side. However, things took a strange turn as the sun began to set. As Gaz was preparing a steak dinner, a random man approached the campsite and asked for a beer and some food. Gaz was caught off guard by the man's sudden appearance in the middle of nowhere.
We've got steaks on go now. Bit of ribeye, pot boiling for some mash, and I've got a visitor. Creeped up behind me asking me if I had a light in my pants. This is Martin anyway. I don't know him, but he's stopping for a steak, so
just some random creep wandering about.
You went round here in a poncho a couple of months ago, were you?
I don't think I was. I could have been.
Although the man's behavior was strange, it wasn't immediately hostile. He introduced himself as Martin and began telling Gaz about his troubled life, including how he had ruined his life with drugs and ended up wandering alone in the woods. Despite their strange conversation, Gaz was somewhat unnerved when Martin left the campsite without a word of thanks for the food. Concerned about the encounter, Gaz decided to leave the campsite and head home. He feared that Martin might come back with friends to rob him or do something worse. Gaz set up a trail camera at the campsite to capture any further events. The next day, when he returned to the campsite, the trail camera was gone. Creepy Outdoors is a YouTube channel where the uploader often visits sketchy outdoor locations during nighttime, exploring them across all seasons. In October 2022, he uploaded a video of a camping trip to an unnamed forest, recording his observations as he explored the dark wilderness alone. For the first few minutes, the only sound was the YouTuber's breathing, and the atmosphere was tense as he wandered deeper into the forest. However, around 13 minutes into the footage, things took a disturbing turn. A voice, coming from somewhere in the distance, yelled, "I see you."
Oh, hi. What?
I need to get out of here. Oh boy. Ooh. Okay. That was creepy. I need to get out of here.
It was unclear whether it was a person or an animal, but the sound was chilling. Though the noise could have been made by a wild animal, the fact that it sounded like someone saying, "I see you," raised unsettling questions. It was almost as if the voice waited for the YouTuber to turn off his lamp before making the eerie declaration. Fortunately, the YouTuber made it back to his campsite safely and continued sharing his outdoor adventures.
Hello, how are you? Hello, it's me. Stealth camp number 18. I feel like every week when I say what number it is, it just...
Sam, from Cleveland, Ohio, runs a channel called The Northwest Wind, where he shares stealth camping trips. Stealth camping is when people park their vans in random places without paying, sometimes in secluded areas or neighborhoods. In January 2024, Sam uploaded footage of a stealth camping trip in the woods in Cleveland. He found a shredded tent in the woods, which was already unsettling, but he continued with his camping trip. As night fell, Sam started cooking dinner when he noticed a couple of people walking near his campsite. He felt an uncomfortable vibe and decided to stay alert. Eventually, after settling in his tent, he heard footsteps outside, growing louder as if someone was walking in circles around him. When Sam called out, there was no immediate response.
Buddy, hang on. I don't know if they could see it or not through the tent. I don't think so. I'm leaning right up against the light, but somebody's walking around out there very close to the tent. They're walking around outside in circles. Hello? Hello? Alright, I don't like this. Hello? Hello? They're touching my tent. Stop. Hello? Hello? Alright, I'm getting out of here. Hello? Hello? I don't know what this is, but we're getting out of here. Hang on. Hello? Okay, they're walking away now. What do you want? What do you want? I have a knife. Where's my knife? With me. With me here. Holy crap. Get away. What do you want? Hello? I can't see you. Hello? All right, I'm getting out of here. We're getting out of here.
After several attempts, his worst nightmare unfolded. His campsite was being stalked. The unsettling encounter intensified as Sam could hear the footsteps getting closer. And when he finally stepped out of the tent, the attackers were standing eerily just a few feet away. Sam was in a panic as he tried to protect himself, realizing that his attackers had collapsed his tent while he was inside.
I don't know which way they went. I think they went this way. I see you. Get away! All right, I'm spooked. I don't like this. Get my headlamp on and we're getting out of here right now. They're just standing there. They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone!
Terrified, Sam decided to flee the area, abandoning his gear as he sprinted through the woods, hearing his attackers chase after him.
All right, they're moving again. I don't know, I'm getting out of here. We're going. I'll come back for this some other time. All right, let's get out of here. I'm leaving, don't follow me. I don't know where to go. I don't know which way to get out of here. I smell your cigarette, I can hear you. I hear you. This has got to lead back to the main trail. I don't know where they are. It's all foggy up here. I got water in my headlamp. I don't know where to go. I don't see or hear anybody anymore. I hear them coming. Can't see the shadow. Here's a path. Okay, get me there. I'm recording all of this. I'm calling up police. All right, I'm back on the path. Back on the path. Okay. Get away from me!
In the dark, he feared for his life, but managed to make it back to his van safely. He later recounted the incident to his viewers, and while some thought the video was staged, his reaction appeared genuine, suggesting that the fear he experienced was real. Finally, Love Sundays, another YouTube channel, features Shan's solo camping trips across the UK. In February 2024, Sean uploaded a video documenting a camping trip in the woods. After exploring, he returned to his van, only to be disturbed in the early hours by some people walking around it. Sean watched through the curtains as they got back into their car and drove off.
All being well, I'll see you in the morning. Good night. The car's just pulled up, and it sounds like they're walking around the van. Right, well, I think we should at least go outside and see how miserable the weather is. My door's stuck. What the actual... See that? So here's there's obviously just people wanting to f*** about and just be funny, I guess, but how dangerous is that, locking someone in their van? Let me check the back door. Well, there's nothing on this one because they wouldn't have been able to tie it to anything, would they? There's no way they could have done that door anyway.
But in the morning, he discovered that the people had locked him inside his van with zip ties. It's unclear why they did this, but it's likely they were trying to steal diesel or send a warning for parking in the area. Fortunately, Sean was unharmed, and after cutting off the zip ties, he made it home safely.